I'm actually live on both now. So I added the Love Advice TV channel. So let's see how many people we get on here. Sony from Ghana, nice to meet you. Hello, Catherine. How's it going? Mohammed, thank you for all your efforts, guys. Thank you, guys, for sticking with us all this time. Obviously, we appreciate you, and we are here for you. That is the purpose of what we do. That is the reason for why we get up every morning. That is the reason for why we do these lives and we create the content that we do, because we really have a passion for this, and we want you guys to have the best relationships possible. Why don't you guys let me know where you're from? Put in the comment box where you are from. So I want to say it's Sony. I see Ghana, West Africa. That's amazing. And if you guys don't know yet, the actual live itself, the topic for today is self-awareness techniques to improve your relationship. I know this may seem like a very generic topic, but it's actually something that I've come to find is incredibly important in relationships, because in order for you to be able to have a successful relationship, in order for you to be able to really connect with your partner, you have to have an awareness of yourself before you can do that. And most people usually miss that step, which is why I wanted to create this live. So let's see, who do we have here? We have, oh my gosh, we have England, we have Brazil, we have Pennsylvania, we have Florida, Morocco, India, I believe, let's see, Netherlands, Trinidad. Amazing. Eric, hello. I see the little hand wave. Okay, guys. So Candace, Colorado. Amazing. Hawaii. I actually, fun fact, I lived in Hawaii for 5 years on the island of Oahu. So hello, Hawaii. Welcome. I miss it every day. All right. So let's jump straight into the topic itself. So self-awareness within a relationship, right? So I think the first thing that's really important here, and the thing that we want to cover, is the definition of self-awareness, right? And I think, there's a general definition. If you Google the definition of self-awareness, you'll be able to find the general definition of it. But for me, what I consider self-awareness to be is a conscious understanding of how you process information, how you communicate, right? And how you react within certain situations. And this involves having a awareness of your emotions. So oftentimes in client sessions, I will sit down and do an exercise with people, right? So if you were having a one-on-one coaching session with me, and one of your biggest issues was being able to communicate with your partner, or having direction within your relationship, or really knowing where things are going, not really having clarity on it, I usually sit down with people and ask them first what your goal is. What is it that you want? What are you wanting to achieve within the relationship? What are you wanting to achieve with personal goals? And then I really kind of get into the emotions of things, right? How familiar are you with emotions? Sure, we all generally know the definition of being sad, angry, happy, anxious, all those types of things. But can you actually identify within yourself how you, A, process those emotions, and B, how you react when you have that emotion? So it's two specific things, right? So a core emotion, which is something that is at the root of the reason for why you are feeling the way that you are: sadness, frustration, anger, anxiety, happiness, all of that. The secondary part of it is your reaction and how you react to that emotion. So every single person, right, reacts differently, depending on what your life experience is, what your particular experience is with that emotion, right? So for some people, when they are angry, they either internalize and get really quiet, or they explode and become very, verbally aggressive. It's different from person to person. But the reason for why this is important is because if you come to understand your own personal emotions, it is much easier for you to A, navigate those emotions and be able to resolve conflict within your relationship and communicate more effectively. And B, it also gives you the ability to be more empathetic to your partner because you can relate on a different level, right? You're not processing, you're not approaching these things from a surface level. You have a deeper understanding of why you are feeling the way that you are feeling, and therefore you can put yourself in your partner's shoes and better understand where they may possibly be coming from as well. So the technique here when it comes to self-awareness, and this is going to seem very old school, but I find it to be incredibly beneficial and necessary in these circumstances is to take out a pen and paper and write, or pull out your phone, do an audio note, pull out a notebook on your phone. On iPhones, there's the notes option. I'm sure on Androids and other types of phones, there's also the notepad option and all of those things. And really try to be conscious of how you are feeling within the moment, how you reacted, and then kind of review it for yourself, right? So if for any reason let's say, for example, you are sitting on the couch and you're watching TV and your partner or your spouse does something that just annoys you or pisses you off. Why? Instead of just being pissed off and annoyed and then sweeping it under the rug, make a mental note of it. And when you make a mental note of it, make sure that you are actually writing it down. You are transferring the thought to some kind of device, paper, whatever the case may be. And the reason for why is because it allows you to view that emotion, the way in which you reacted from an objective standpoint. And when you view it objectively, you're able to actually step outside of the situation and have a different perspective, right? That's what self-awareness is all about. Knowing yourself and being able to view yourself, circumstances, situations from a different perspective. Oftentimes we get so caught up in the subjective experience. We get caught up in how we are feeling, right? What most people refer to is I was in my feels, right? And it's so hard to see beyond that. There's a very famous quote that kind of is pertinent right now, or relates to what I am saying, which is not being able to see the forest for the trees, right? Because if you are standing directly in front of a tree, all you are seeing is that trunk that is in front of you, and you're not seeing what's beyond it. You're not seeing the forest. You're not seeing anything beyond what is directly in front of you. And even more than that, if you were to actually get an aerial perspective of where you are, it would be a completely different view. It would be a completely different experience. So understanding that there are multiple different perspectives when it comes to a situation and a circumstance, and the only way that you can truly understand it is to pull yourself out of it, right? And view it from an objective standpoint, which is why the pen and the paper, the notebook, the audio recording, or whatever is incredibly helpful in this situation. Now, I'm not saying obviously that you're going to pull out a pen and paper immediately in that moment and start to write it down, because that's not always realistic, right? You are not always sitting at home. You don't always have the ability or the capability to do that. But that is why there are certain tools like audio notes or audio recordings or whatever, where you can take a quick note for yourself and say, hey, I want to go back and review this for myself. That in and of itself is a practice in being conscious, being actively conscious, right? Because I think so many times with the way in which the world is going and how society is and all the external stresses and factors and just feeling the need to kind of go all the time, it's almost as if our brains, in order to be able to handle or cope, goes into a subconscious state of being. I guess the best example of this would be, and I'm sure everybody has done this, and please do me a favor. Tell me if you have ever had this experience, because I feel like most people have, where you get in your car, you have a destination that you have to get to, and then all of a sudden you are at that destination and you don't even remember how you got there, right? I think everybody has had that experience. I for sure have had that experience. Living in Los Angeles and getting on the 405, absolute nightmare. You kind of just check out. But that translates into everyday interactions, that translates into our relationships, that translates into our professional lives, our interpersonal communication with friends, family, uh, partner, whatever the case may be. So really stopping and making a conscious effort to remember why you were feeling the way that you were feeling, what the circumstance or the situation was, and how you could have reacted differently if you had only given yourself a second, a moment, or just stepped away from the situation, is bringing conscious thought to subconscious feelings and thoughts, right? We're trying to pull it from the back to the front. And the more you do this, the more frequently you do this, the more you will be present. And that is one of the biggest things that I hear in my one-on-one coaching sessions all the time when it comes to couples having issues with resolving conflict or connecting or interacting, is because there's always one person that says, I just don't feel like you are present. I don't feel like you are here with me, or that we are connecting, right? And it's difficult for people to understand how to navigate that, how to get out of that. And it usually starts with self-awareness on both parts, not just one, on both parts, right? Because a relationship is a two-way street, and both individuals are accountable for their actions, for their words, and the way that they show up in the relationship. So the technique that I am talking about here is bringing conscious thought to subconscious thought, right? Pulling it from the back to the front and utilizing a notebook, a notepad, audio recordings, or whatever the case may be, to really document when you notice that there is something up, when you are emotionally off, when you are reacting in a particular way that you are finding is yielding negative results. And what I mean by that is, if you are reacting a certain way and your partner is coming back at you negatively, you might want to reflect on why that person is reacting the way that they are. They're probably on the defensive because they feel like the way in which you are speaking to them is offensive. So that's where it, like I said, that's where it's a mutual endeavor. It's something that both you and your partner should try to do. And pretty much that is the primary technique that I utilize with clients in order to get you to feel more aware of yourself. Now, if self-awareness is something that you struggle with, which my assumption is if you are here, you know the title, you're watching the video, it may be something that you are considering is an issue for yourself or within the relationship. Guys, guaranteed. So I actually created a self-awareness program, and it has helped so many of my clients. I 100% would recommend you guys going and getting that product. It is not super expensive. It's an incredibly helpful tool for you guys to utilize. Actually, all the products that we have created on our website are to help you guys, and we make it incredibly affordable because we know, obviously, with COVID and the situation that, budgets are tight, finances are hard, but we also want to make sure that you are benefiting from what we are creating, and that you are creating a happy relationship for yourself and the future that you want to see for yourself. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, I'm actually going to put that in the comment box. Give me 1 second, guys. Again, we are live, so sometimes there are moments where I will stop talking or try to pull some information to give to you guys. Here we go. So I'm going to put the link right here for you guys. Hopefully this link works. If it does not, let me know. All right, so I put it in there for you guys. What I'm also going to do for you guys is I'm going to put a link here for one-on-one coaching. The one-on-one coaching link is actually in the description for the live, but just in case you guys did not see it there, I will add the link here. Now, this one is for happily committed. We also do have, obviously, With My Ex Again. So if you go to the With My Ex Again website, you can also book a private one-on-one coaching there, and I will put the website there. Okay, so that's it. That is a technique. I mean, there are obviously multiple other techniques that we can utilize in order to become more self-aware within a relationship. Some of the ones that I always advise people to do is meditation, or trying new activities, right? Things that you have on your bucket list, things that you've been wanting to do that you haven't really had the opportunity to do. Because when you do things that are new and you step outside of your comfort zone, you come to realize how you actually manage emotions in conflict type situations. Because since it's new for you, there's going to be a level of anxiety and excitement at the same time. So your body is going to process this as conflict, right? So that kind of survival fight or flight mode kicks in. And it's really interesting for you to observe yourself in that situation to see how you are processing, how you react, and what the experience is post being outside of your comfort zone. What I will do now, and this is usually what I do towards the end of my lives. And like I was saying, I'm creating a new structure for lives. Before, what I would do is I would do a live, and then at the very end of the live, I would answer any questions that you guys may have for me. I wasn't always able to get through a lot of the questions because obviously I'm on limited time. However, I wanted to make sure that I was investing more time in answering the questions that you guys had. So the new structure and how I'm doing it moving forward, which I mentioned on my last live, is I do 4 lives a month, basically. 2 of the lives will be topics such as this one, based on the comments and DMs that I get and YouTube comments and all that stuff. What I get in my inbox, my email, all that. And the other 2 lives will basically just be a live question and answer. So if you are wanting to join the question and the answer, make sure that you subscribe to our website, to the YouTube channel, because you will receive emails if you are a subscriber of the upcoming lives, and you will know when the question and answer lives are coming up so that I can actually spend the full 20-30 minutes just answering questions that you guys may have. What I will do, though, because I do have 5 minutes, I will go through the comments and see if there are any questions that you guys may have for me, and I will do my best to answer some of those. Let's see. The infamous Junebug, my Hawaii person. My ex doesn't want a relationship. Should I wait for her? I still love her, or should I move on? I tried to be in a relationship, but all I could think about was about my ex. So this one obviously is a question that I get all the time. And at the end of the day, one of the most important factors when it comes to getting back with an ex is patience, time, right, and space. And it is the answer that everybody hates, because most people, and I understand, right, want a 1, 2, 3 step. Here is what you do in order to get your ex back. But sometimes that doesn't necessarily work because you are dealing with another human being. And if that person is saying to you, I do not want to get back with you, that means that they are in an emotional and mental state that they have convinced themselves that being in the relationship with you is not the best thing. So if you try to push, if you try to convince them, if you try to beg, if you try to do all of those things, you will actually only further validate for them the reason for why they walked away from the relationship. So sometimes doing nothing for an extended period of time is the best thing you can do. Now, the next question usually is, well, how long do I do that for? And it really just depends. It depends on how long the relationship lasted. It depends on how severe the breakup was. Sometimes it can take anywhere between 30, 60, 90 days to a year. It really depends on the situation. I've seen the full spectrum. And I know a year sounds absolutely terrifying and anxiety inducing and all of those things, but you're not just sitting there waiting for your ex for an entire year. You're focusing on yourself. You are putting yourself back on the pedestal. You are creating a bucket list for yourself. You're looking at your health and wealth goals. Are you achieving them? Do you feel like if you were to get your ex back, you would be the best version of yourself at that point in order to do it? And if you do not feel like you are there yet, that means there's still some more work that needs to be done. And eventually what happens is, as time goes by and as some space is given, right? I'm not saying infinite space. There's obviously strategies to recommunicate and reconnect with exes. But when you've given sufficient space and time, that visceral feeling that happened post breakup for your ex, the anger, the frustration, the resentment, all of those things starts to dissipate over time. And it's not as visceral as it once was when you first broke up. And the best way that I can describe that or equate it to is, for example, if you've ever had an injury, when you were in that moment, that injury sucked. It hurt. There's pain. You felt it. Now, if you reflect back on the injury, you can remember what the experience was like, but you cannot remember the pain necessarily. You cannot create the pain again. So it's the same concept, right? So over time, as time moves on, that pain starts to diminish, and all that is left is the memory. But we can also restructure and reform memories. We can create new memories and start a new dynamic. So that was a very long-winded answer, my man, for me to basically tell you it's not that there is not a chance. It's not that there isn't a strategy that we would be able to follow to try to get her back, but it also depends on how much time and space you have given her. And you also have to take her at her word. So if she's telling you right now it is not a possibility, do not push it and do not try to make it work. And if emotionally and mentally you feel like you are not ready to jump into another relationship, that is okay. You don't have to get under somebody else to get over somebody. Sometimes spending time with yourself is actually what's necessary in order for you to level up to the point to get your ex back, instead of distracting yourself with multiple different relationships. I hope I answered that question. Da, 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 da. Raul, I try to be self-aware, but sometimes I miss things. That is absolutely normal, right? We can't remember everything. The brain is not built that way. It's not possible for us to remember every single specific detail, every conversation, be present in every single moment. If you were present in every single moment, bro, you'd be the Buddha, right? You would be enlightened. You probably would be in nirvana at this point. But as long as you are putting an effort in, as long as you are consciously aware of the mistakes that you are making or not making, right? The improvements or the good things that you are doing, and you are communicating them effectively, that is what counts. I'm sorry, guys, my nose is so itchy. I don't know if anybody is in Los Angeles currently, but the Santa Ana winds kicked in this past week. And if you know anything about the Santa Ana winds, it brings all kinds of pollen and debris and really just get your allergies going. Let's see. Let's see. No reaction is the best way to deal with things because it only brings trouble between a couple. I agree to a certain extent. And it depends on what your definition of reaction is, right? Because everybody has a different definition of reaction. One of the things that I oftentimes find is, and it's this age-old phrase, if you have nothing nice to say, then don't say it all, which I completely understand, right? That's actually more along the lines of say what you mean and don't say it mean. But if one of your partner's chief complaints about the relationship is that you are avoidant and that you do not meet them in the middle to resolve conflict, and there is an issue going on and you just do not react and you just do not engage, it may actually further piss off your partner because you are actually validating for them the reasons for why they are upset or why they are not fulfilled or why they are getting anxious and frustrated and all of those types of things, right? Because what it's actually doing is that it's proving to them that there is an avoidant behavior here. So, again, I do agree. You don't want to make the situation worse, but you also don't want to basically completely disconnect and just not react because you're also kind of dismissing them in that moment. So it's really just about how you react to them, how you communicate with them, and how you resolve the issue in that moment. Tiffany, we had a misunderstanding, but I do not know what to do. I would have to know the particulars of the situation, right? It's hard for me to give a recommendation about how to resolve a conflict if I don't know the details about it. So my recommendation for any of you guys is if you feel like you need more help, if you feel like you need more support when it comes to your situation because your situation is very particular, book a one-on-one coaching session. it is worth it, guys. And I'm telling you, if you are wanting to change your perspective, if you are wanting to gain self-awareness, if you are wanting to resolve the conflict within your relationship, that is what we do day in and day out. I have worked with many clients, many clients that have been at the brink of divorce or breakup and have brought it back because we worked together on different perspectives and communication and resolving conflict and understanding what is at the root of the issues. So yes, these sessions may seem like they are expensive. I get it, but they are well worth it. So if you guys feel like you need more support, by all means, please use the links that I have put in the chat box to book your one-on-one coaching session. That is all the time that I have for today, guys. It's always a pleasure being on these lives with you guys. I enjoy doing these. This is why I do it on a weekly basis. And I'm super excited for next week's question and answer live. So if you feel like you did not get your question answered, your next opportunity is on the next live. So subscribe, book a one-on-one coaching session if you feel like you need more help. Take a look at the link for that training that I sent you guys. It is, I promise you guys, it will open your eyes in the relationship and you will come to realize certain patterns of behavior that you were not even aware of that may actually fix the issues that you are currently experiencing. And other than that, I will see you guys on the next live. So see you guys later. Bye. Hope you guys have a great day.